Hello dear viewer, I'm leesusss and welcome back to Viscera Cleanup Detail and tiny rooms too. Plan this week is to do this in here, I think. Yeah, I think so. I think we'll be working into these rooms here because I figured they're fairly closed off area and I should be able to empty the stuff out and then... Oh, someone's dressed differently over there. That's interesting. Not a person in a suit. Maybe a different colour suit. Hard to tell. Anyway, yeah, I'd like to stack some things in there is what I'd like to do, I think, and that would be good to be efficient and get stuff done in there. By the way, did you enjoy the start to my last session? The start of my first, episode 1. Did you enjoy that? Was that a nice little surprise? You got to be sparing about doing that kind of thing. You can't do it too often, or people expect it and it stops being a surprise. Anyway, on to this episode. Yeah, I think this is going to be fairly efficient to get this done from in here. I mean, unfortunately these damn boxes and things are going to get in the way, but once we've got this clear in here, we can then start filling it back up again. This one's barrels and the other one's crates. Now, of course, I think there's a second... I think this is crates in here as well, isn't it? That one. Are you right there, box? What are you up to? It's a wheelie. But as long as we get it fairly neatly, well cleared in here, we can double check as best we can with the sniffer. Then I think that will be... It's just me, my big butt, bashing it out of the way. That's the problem. I'm just thumping around here, really, aren't I? All over the place. You can wait a second. Don't be too hasty, sir. We'll get to you in good time. Careful me. Barrel's going wild. Barrel's out of control. Barrel's wild and out of control. Okay, let's get you down here. Yes. Okay. Yeah, it was a good session last time. I really enjoyed it, and I'm feeling pretty positive about this one. I should have got a bucket, shouldn't I, really? Coming through from here, but never mind. Let's get you a little bit more out of the way. Yeah, feeling pretty positive. I think we can get some good progress done. That's what I'd like to do in this session, if nothing else. I want to get those two rooms there with the barrel and the bucket storage. It's nice to have a little bite-sized plan like that. I was doing some planning earlier, actually. I was doing planning for Christmas again, like I was talking about last time. But this time, a bit more personal. I was planning around my own kind of business. Who's this? Ronkle Booth. You can go straight in here. There's no reason to bring the PID bucket. Oh, we're getting that strange... Is it at the bottom left by my hand? We're getting that strange little silhouette thing again. Isn't that funny? No, it's going to stay there now, isn't it? Like an after image. Maybe my eyes are going. It's age, you know. My retinas are giving up the ghost. Yeah, so for a change, I was planning on what I want for Christmas, as far as what was that? Presents and things like that, and careful making careful lists, because you got to be careful. I mean, if you, ooh, it's impressive. I didn't know how I did it, but there you go. I mean, like everyone's got different sorts of interests. I mean, you can be lucky if you and your family or your partner have the same interests as you, but a lot of the time, you don't, and therefore you've got to be careful about... I'm all over the place today. I'm bouncing on every surface. You've got to be careful about, explaining exactly what you want for a present to avoid the whole, slightly embarrassing looks when you open said present, and then possibly taking it back. I know it happens. It's unavoidable, but you try not to. I mean, all your friends and family really want to do is get you a present. They love you, or at least generally tolerate you, so they want to get you something nice. Not an organ, not a leg. Well, who knows? I don't want to judge. Oh, for goodness sake, it's done so well. I'm just not. I'm on usual Viscera mode. I think I'm not being. I'm not on careful tiny rooms Viscera mode. That's the problem. Yeah, all your relatives want to do is get you a present. but then also not have to struggle getting you a present, because that's the worst kind of thing, isn't it? When you want to get someone a present and it's that person that you just don't know. Mr. Brown suit over here had to be special, didn't you? Had to be different. You don't know really what they're going to want. You know, we all know people like that. It's like they're always a hard one to buy. They're a bit fussy, or they've just got very eclectic tastes, or whatever. Not eclectic tastes. They've got very narrow tastes. Maybe eclectic's better. Who's this? Douglas Smith. It's a remarkably normal name, Dougie. Thanks very much, buddy. Oh. That tickled me, obviously. Oh! Why did I suddenly produce my sniffer? I'm in a funny... Maybe I need coffee. I don't know. I'm in a funny old mood today. Both me and the character, apparently. Should we get the stuff out of here? It doesn't need to be in here right now. We can stick it over here for now. And just get ourselves a bit of room in here. A room to swing a corpse. That's what you need. You always need room to swing a corpse. Wherever you are. So yeah, careful lists of what I want. Probably books. You know, no things. But to say, when you've got to make sure you're going to get exactly what you want, and that means you sometimes best just to tell people what you want. It takes away some of the surprise, obviously, of what you're going to get, but you get what you want. That's the main thing. I mean, you've got to be careful about these things. I mean, sometime in the distant past, somebody, a friend or a relative, possibly, I don't even remember who, got the impression that I'm a big fan of Gustav Klimt. Austrian, maybe? An Austrian artist from like turn of the century, last century. And it's nice. I quite like Gustav Klimt stuff. Don't worry if you don't know who that is. You probably recognised some of the things. The Kiss, I think, is the most famous one that they do. But somewhere along the line, yeah, someone's got the idea that I like his work, and as I say, it's all right, but I'm not really like a huge fan, and I don't know where that really came from. Oh, that's a mop. That's kind of cool. I like that. Let's slap some acid on it. There we go. Yeah, I don't really know where this came from. Possibly a friend from university, maybe. That is a long time ago. And now, you know, sometimes people comment, "Oh yeah, that's that piece by that artist you like," and it gets to the point where you're like, you can't explain it anymore, you know, and it's like, why didn't you say something years ago that isn't quite true? And sometimes you do, and sometimes you don't. It's how comfortable you feel with telling someone, you know, you've kind of misjudged something about them, you misunderstood, and the longer it goes on, to explain, it's not really a problem. I mean, I guess it's the worst parallel is the one suffered by... Where's my laser, by the way? What have I done with it? Left it in here somewhere? Here it is. No? Yes? There we go. I find it's often elderly female relatives suffer from something like this. So I thought I'd pause for a second there while I was lasering things. I didn't even realise it actually says barrels here, look. I'm sure you did. I couldn't read it behind the graffiti and the scarring and everything else. There we go, that's room's done already, look. There we go. I also got just dangerously close to this dynamite while I was lasering. There we go. Anyway, let's start filling this room up with, well, barrels, really. Yeah, so as I was saying, at some point, you know, Auntie Maureen has seen something on holiday, and like a little statuette or something like that of, I don't know, an owl or something in there. Oh, here we go. Something on holiday, a beautiful little statuette of an owl, and she's got it off of, you know, she's bought it and taken it home, and it's a souvenir from her holiday, and she's very happy with it. She puts it on her shelf, and I might have mentioned it to a couple of people, a couple of relatives, while she's they ask about her holiday, and it's lovely. So there you go. And but then people don't leave it at that. People go, "Oh, so you like owls, do you?" And from then on, Maureen doesn't realise what she started, which is that there's a good chance that almost every present she ever gets will now be owl themed in some way. You know what I'm going with this? Have you seen this before now? You know, someone where, you know, you obviously get people that do like particular things. They like, you know, everything. They want kittens on it or something like that. As I said, often elderly relatives again, or older relatives, This is the sort of thing that they're known for, or whether rightly or wrongly. But the point is, this is what people want: an easy present. They want to get something they love, and they want an easy present. So, before you know it, Auntie Maureen is knee deep in owl-themed merchandise. You know, horrible little crystal statue things, and this dynamite before it gets any more trouble for me. Let's you know, coasters, tea towels, everything. It's like owl stuff. You know, people go on holiday and find interesting looking foreign owls in sculpture form. Goodness knows, I hope she doesn't get like a taxidermy owl or anything like that. That'd be really bad. But the point is, that's the sort of thing that happens. You get known for something, and therefore people start getting they think that's your thing, and they get you a whole lot of it. They think they're doing something nice. They think they're satisfying you, and that can happen. I mean, I'm not saying that I'm having the same problem with old Gustav. You know, I'm not getting like tea towels with the kiss on them or anything like that. But the point is that it's a misunderstanding. You know, you don't want that. We don't want that for presents. You don't want that feeling of trying to explain to someone, or not being able to explain to someone, this isn't quite what you wanted. I mean, I've said things before now about particular authors, and I've then received books from relatives that have had, you know, authors with very similar names, often quite different genres, but the mistake has happened somewhere along the line. So it's best to note these things. Best to note these things down. Just save yourself some trouble and some cringe later on. It's better for everybody. You know, no one else wants to feel either they've got the wrong thing. They're misunderstood in some way. So I've been carefully, you know, noting down exactly what I want. I mean, in fact, in the past, actually, my wife had got exactly the right present for me. She got them exactly the right book. She looked at the bookstore and thought, that's the sort of thing that my idiot husband is alright back there. Nothing's going to boom. Okay. Another brown suitor. That's exactly what my husband would like to have. And it was a book called, been around for quite a few years now, it's called Elephants on Acid, and similar things, and it's similar stories. Who's this, by the way? John Wang. Get in there, John Wang. In you go, fella. There we go. It was a book about you know, weird science experiments, possibly from quite a long time ago, frankly, when there was less rules about what you could or should do around things, and whether morally or ethically or anything else like that. I think scientists in the past have had some very strange ideas what I thought was okay. So, you know, things like one of the things was, giving, around the time of when acid was a really big thing, as in the drug, what if we gave it to an elephant? That like idea, which they did. It was a past experiment that someone did. They gave acid to an elephant, and it didn't do well. It wasn't a happy. First organ's out of here. It wasn't a happy. It comes out very fast as well. Makes it a bit harder to deal with. It wasn't a happy camper. Is these different in here? 1 second. I'll check something. And just as crates, doesn't it, in here? It says boxes. Okay, right. I would say that's a box and that's a crate. Excuse me. What do you reckon? What do you think? Yeah? No? What? Okay, right. Let's have a look. Right, okay. Let us go. It's alright, it's in an isolated area. We can even just reach into the room and not worry about the stuff that's in there. We can, it's fine, it's all good. What does this over here say, though? Does it say boxes or crates? It says crates. Okay. Now, we've got a definition issue here, haven't we, really? Okay, I'm going to say that the medical ones are a bit of a mixture. This is a box. That's a briefcase. I would say a crate has some sort of. It's a very strong physical structure. Yeah, it's for holding lots of stuff. It's going to be heavy and very robust. These are crates like here. Yeah, they've got bracings on them. Oh, they're hardened plastic with steel bases. Whereas boxes are these things here. Yeah? Right, that's my definition. I don't know what to do about the medical. I would say they're a medical crate, but I don't honestly know. It is time for the wiki, possibly, to get an answer on that. But it's nice to have the two divisions, at least, anyway. It's nice to have a... not nice to have you. I hate you boxes. You're awful. We'll leave you there for now. Just want to get these bits. And actually, I shouldn't leave you there because there's a body to take out of here. Anyway, so yeah, mad experiments like that. So, you know, and some of them were interesting and a bit wacky. Obviously, that one was very bad for the elephant, but generally speaking, they're not terrible. Well, no, they were. A lot of them were actually terrible. Let's take that back entirely. I love more horrible experiments, quite frankly. They were things that shouldn't have been done. They weren't advisable. What other things have been done? One of them, I think, was some of them actually are parts of real psychology experiments, because I know because my son had done psychology at college, and some of the case studies he learned were ones that were mentioned in this book. You know, horrible things around. If I'm going to upset you, I'm sorry about this, but you know, if you give an animal, it was a dog in this case, I think, but if you give an animal, a fairly intelligent animal, a test where if they do one thing they get a treat, or they do another thing they get a shock, they learn pretty quickly, you know, which is which. What are you doing here? Who is this? This is Boone Edkinson. That's a good name. I like it. Boone. Yeah, so they learn, you know, they learn fairly quickly. You know, this is a good thing, this is a bad thing. I won't do the bad thing. I mean, even quite simple creatures will learn this. Like, for example, businessmen. Obviously, they haven't learned their lesson. Otherwise, this basement wouldn't be full of their corpses. Never mind. But there, you know, you can teach animals that. But then, if you start to mix up the study a bit more, it gets a bit more complicated. So, for example, if you there's a box in here already. If you, for example, you do that same experiment, but no matter what happens, what the creature does, it gets punished either way. Like, for example, it gets a shock. But if it does one thing or doesn't do one thing, if it asks for food or doesn't ask for food, it gets a shock either way. There's never a reward. There's only ever punishment. Well, you know what the animal does? It gives up. It just stops. It doesn't do anything. It gives up. And I find that I'd have these images come to mind about that. And I know it was done on dogs, which makes it even worse. Because I'm a big animal. I'm a big fan of dogs. Most people, not everybody is, but a lot of people are, obviously. I can't, it breaks my heart to think of someone doing this experiment, and we're close to the furnace, by the way, so I'm going to chuck these straight in the furnace. The later ones I probably won't. I haven't looked it up yet if I need to throw toilet seats away, but I'm going to anyway. That's not a toilet seat. This is a toilet seat. And the toilet in here. Yeah, so the idea of someone doing that to a dog makes me pretty sad. It makes me angry sometimes as well, but mostly it just makes me sad for the animal. But there we go. So this is a great book, you know, and there's other things in there. There were things like what was the other one? Oh, yeah. A bit more of the kind of wacky one until you think about it too deeply, which is the sleep paralysis one. You know, because when you may or may not know this, but there's part of your brain that when you're sleeping, it shuts down all the major skeletal muscle groups when you go to sleep, and you want to move your limbs around and like that. So that, you know, if you have a wacky dream, you're twitching, but you're not thrashing around too much, you know. What do I do about this lot? These barrels can go to the other side straight away. So, you know, I don't know. I mean, maybe you dream about, I don't know. You dream that you've become some form of centaur, except instead of a horse bottom half, the bottom half's a submarine. You know, I don't know, something like that. And then you're dreaming that you're splashing around the channel, and everything's going great, and then someone from the lifeboat service spots you and informs the informs people of what they've seen, and the photos go around of this weird object, and then before you know it, you're racing up the English coast, being chased by boats with with little men on them with beards who are want to take pictures of you and then send it off to the Fortean Society because you're some sort of weird cryptid that they've seen from there, and then someone else decides you're a danger to shipping, and then you've got a naval vessel after you, and then you it goes from worse to worse, really. And rather than you running around the bedroom and up and down the stairs and trying to spin your propellers, and eventually you end up in next door's pond, nothing happens. You're just twitching there, annoying your partner if you're sleeping next to somebody. Or possibly people in the next room if you're making a lot of noise, but you're not, because it's fine, because the sleep paralysis thing, it keeps you under control. All you do is you sit there and twitch, and you've seen when it, if you've got a pet dog, must be other pets as well. When they're dreaming because they move around. You see them, and look how cute they're being. They're sort of twitching in their sleep, and if it's a dog, woofing quite into themselves. Maybe if it's a cat, they could be woofing quite into themselves as well. I mean, a cat, I don't see why a cat can't dream it's a dog and therefore engage in some woofing. Dream woofing. Where's the harm in that? So there you go. So that's what they do. So some scientists said, we need to understand this a bit more about why you don't go thrashing around doing whatever in your sleep. So what we'll do is we'll take some dogs. Poor dogs always get the shots, and we think it's this bit of the brain. So what they do is they cut out or deform that part of the brain in some way, and then watch what happens when the dogs go to sleep. And as you'd expect, what happens? Well, dogs have sensible dreams. They aren't dreaming about flipping manned submarine things or anything like that, because that's only the sort of nonsense that I come up with. No, instead they are. They dream about chasing cats and squirrels and chewing the sofa and that sort of stuff. And they run around and they woof in their sleep, because dogs are better people than we are. I've trapped myself in here, haven't I? Really. I need the laser, and I need a bucket, and I don't need this barrel. That needs to go in there in a minute. There's the laser. God damn it. That's the lasering done. So yeah, you do that to a dog's brain, and then you watch them sleep. And what do? Well, because they haven't got that bit of their brain controlling the sleep paralysis and the rest of it, they do actually get up and they walk around, or they even run around the place, and then they're asleep, so they bump into things and hurt themselves. And yeah, that's. I mean, it's kind of interesting, and it's I won't deny that it's a good old step forward. Can we squeeze this through here? Do you reckon? I think we probably can, but just because I put this box in the way, I can't. Hold on. Does that mean knocking the thing over? Let's get it through here. I know in theory this is a big crate, so I don't need to, but I wondered if I can just, because it will be out of my way if I can get it through here, or get it completely jammed and never be able to get through here ever again. What do you reckon? No? Is it going to be? Is it a crate too far? Maybe much more boring version of the bridge too far. There we go. Oh, we're bringing order out of chaos. Look at this. Apart from the chaos in my own mind, that's still very firmly there. There we go. Progress. Anyway, yeah. So that's, I won't deny that is indeed a step forward for the study of the neurological understanding, the physical properties of which bit of your brain does what, which is a very hard thing to study. However, once you've done that kind of thing, it's not like you can't just plug that bit of the brain back in again. That dog is now, or those dogs rather, because you never do it with one dog. Those dogs are now permanently unsafe for them to sleep and dream, because they will every time they dream, and dogs and animals like that do nap a lot and dream a lot. They're going to be getting up and running around the place and hurting themselves. Except probably they did actually almost certainly euthanize the dogs afterwards, because You know, you've used your material, and then you get rid of it neatly and tidily. So, you know, mixed feelings. I think we can agree on there about the. Despite being a there's a barrel over there. I didn't see it. Despite being a big fan of the scientific method, not in those cases. So you know, it sounds like a very dark book. It's not all dark like that. There are certainly dark aspects. But you know, it's a perfect book. It's exactly the sort of book that I like to read, which is why, of course, I already owned a copy. So it was a kind of a bitter victory for my wife there that she got exactly the sort of book I want to have. And yeah, never mind.